All right, I'm going to do a short little video on the constant of proportionality, what we've talked about in the past, and then I'm going to add a little bit to it. So let's just remember that the constant of proportionality is also, it's the same as the unit rate, okay? It's the same as looking at the y value over the x, okay, simplified. And a little bit later, we're going to know it as the k value, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is to pause the video. I want you to look at these three charts, tables, and figure out the constant of proportionality. Make sure that it's always simplified to its simplest form, okay? All right, so pause the video and come back when you have your answer. All right, so let's check your answers, okay? So just remember, the constant of proportionality means this is what we're multiplying by. The x value times this would give me 4. So let's just make sure. Remember, each time I just took the first value, but I could have gone to any one of them and used it, okay? So let's just show it out. So let's say I have 45. If I multiply 45 times the constant of proportionality, which is 2/5, I would get 18. So I just want to show it to you to make sure you see that it's how it works. So 45 times 2/5. Okay, I'm going to multiply straight across. So multiply straight across and I get 90 over 5. So that gives me 18. Okay, so that's how I got 18. So I'm multiplying the constant of proportionality by the x every time, and that's how I get my y value. Okay, over here, my bananas. So one banana costs $1.50. So if I multiply the pounds of my bananas times $1.50, I should get this answer. Okay, that's what the constant of proportionality is. All right, so let's go to the next one. So let's look at these these are real tables now, so you can have some context between them. So if I'm looking at this table, again, the two things I'm comparing is people and burgers, and I want to know the relationship between them, okay? So the first thing I want to do, we are going to write an equation, okay? But the first thing I want to do is to figure out the constant of proportionality. Figure that out first. So let's look at this one. This is my x value. This is my y value, okay? So I can see what it is here, what I'm doing, but I'm still just always going to go my y over my x value, okay, just to make sure. So that would be 10 over 5, okay. When I simplify, that just becomes 2. Now, if you look at that, yep, that makes sense. I'm just multiplying by 2, okay. So now I'm going to write an equation. The equation is a math sentence that shows the relationship. So what that means is if I had, let's say, an n number of people. So I don't exactly know how many people I had, but could I figure out an equation that works all the time? Okay, here's the formula that I would use. I would simply say that y would have to equal whatever the constant of proportionality is times my x value. So 2 times my x value. 2 times my x value. So let's say if I had 8 here, okay? Let's see if I had 8 here, okay? All I would do is y would have to equal 2 times, this is my multiplication sign, my x value, and I'm telling you that is 8, okay? So then you just solve it. So that would be 2 times 8 would be 16. Okay, so my equation that would always work, we're going to write it in this form. So the only thing you have to figure out is what is the constant of proportionality. That's all you have to do. And then you write it in that form. Okay, so let's do it over here. So first of all, here's my form. Y equals k times x. This is the constant of proportionality. So let's figure out what the constant of proportionality is. All right, I'm going to do my y over x. Okay, or you might be able to figure out what you're multiplying by. So 90 over 2, which would equal 45 over 1. So that means I'm just multiplying it by 45. So I'm going to take my constant of proportionality and I'm going to switch it for that letter k. So my new equation would be y equals 45 times x. So no matter what number I put over here, if I use this formula, I should be able to figure out my y value. Okay, so let's just try one of these. Let's see 5. If I put 5 in for x, because that's my x value, if I put a 5 here, that would be 45 Let me do a different color. That would be 45 times 5. And let's see, does that give me 220? It sure does, 225, 225. And that's what I got right there. Okay? All right, so I would like for you, here are 3 questions. I want you to see if you can write the equation. So remember, you're going to write it in the form of y equals k times x. The only thing you have to figure out is the k, which is the constant of proportionality. Okay, why don't you do the first one first, okay, and then come and pause the video and let's check your answer. All right, how'd you do on this one? Here's your equation. Okay, because that was my constant of proportionality, 2. So I just plugged it in where the k value was. All right, pause the video and do the next one. All right, check that one out. All right, last one, pause the video. All right, check your answer. All right, so the nice thing about this is once I have my equation here, I can give you any x value here. Let's say I give you cups of flour. Let's say I have 12 cups of flour, 12 cups of flour. So all I would do is plug it into this formula. So 12 cups of flour times a half, and then I would figure out how many loaves of bread I could make. Okay, if I simply multiply it across, that would give me 12 over 2, which means I could make 6 loaves of bread. Okay, all right. You're going to work on some problems by yourself, so let's see how you do. Ask me questions if you have any questions.